we are learning that the most valuable, the most rare, and one of the greatest differentiators in terms of skill is being able to do a subset of what we talked about in a previous video. We talked about high quality work being intensity of focus times time spent. And this most rare, most valuable ability is to do what the research calls deep work, which is the intensity of focus part of the high quality work equation. If high quality work equals those two things of intensity of focus times time spent, how do you get intensity of focus? And this is the focus of this particular video. To have high intensity focus, you have to do deep work, and it's a very specific kind of work. We've talked a tiny bit about it before, but we've never really detailed it. And this is what I've often linked with what I call zones of zero distraction. What is deep work? What can we talk about just a little bit? Well, deep work is these three things, and I want to invite you to jot this down and begin thinking about it. I have a client that I'm working with right now down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He leads a sizable organization, and we are in the process of creating blocks of 90 minutes in his schedule where he does deep work. That is intensity of focus. And we've coupled with it the other part of the equation for high quality work, which is time spent. So he is creating a deep work block of 90 minutes so that he can accomplish high quality work, whatever it happens to be. So what is required? Well, zones of zero distraction is the first characteristic of what it means to do deep work. You have to be willing to close the door, to turn off notifications, to have no texts blowing in, to have a sign on your door that says, "Don't disturb me," to do all the things necessary to make sure that zones of zero distraction is a reality, that you are in a bubble, that you are in a cocoon, that nobody can get to you. Why is that? Well, it's because of what we talked about in the multitasking video some 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that is that if you get distracted, you will end up experiencing what's called attention residue. And that means that that 90 minutes is now down to 81 minutes. And if you get distracted another couple times, every distraction leads to 9 minutes of attempted re-engagement. So that is why this idea of zones of zero distraction is so important. The second thing that deep work requires is not only a distraction-free zone of zero, but it also requires a high and ambitious goal. You have to be crystal clear in this 90 minutes, what's the goal? When I get done with the 90-minute alarm going ding ding, did I hit the ball? Did I move the needle? Were the metrics reached? Now this becomes really important, and we're going to talk more about this in some subsequent videos, because when you have a clear and ambitious goal, it enhances your focus. Does that make sense? When you're like, oh my gosh, 90 minutes? And 90 minutes are a key frame. And this is the third thing we're going to talk about, us having a clear time frame determined. But when I say, I've got to accomplish all this in 90 minutes, man, I better buckle in. And something happens in our neurobiology, which we're going to talk more about, where a cocktail of nice brain neurotransmitters starts to flow, and that focus and that intensity and that ambitious goal I've got to reach, I activate and I say, I need to make this happen. And the third thing I mentioned just in passing there, to have a deep work experience, is you have to have a predetermined time. It's got to be on your timer, and you've got to be able to say for the next 60 to 90 minutes, that's the optimal frame, and then you need to take a break. Literally, deep work's exhausting work. And so I want to encourage you that in a world where smart is being redefined, in a world where the greatest meta skill is high quality work, to develop new skills. And high quality work's two things, remember. It's intensity of focus and time spent. And that intensity of focus requires what we're calling deep work. Deep work is this ability to get into a distraction-free zone, have a clear and ambitious goal, and to determine the time frame. And when you start to do that, you are creating infinitely long self-redescription and self-reinvention. They are saying that deep work, because it is so rare, might be one of the key differentiators moving into the 21st century. Because what it means is you can learn anything you need to learn to move forward.